Good evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me in the co-host seats this evening, none other than Scotty V. How you doing tonight, Scotty?
I'm doing great.
And Watches 1011 from a few nights ago. Great show. And of course, the one, the only, the man of YouTube, the one of the guys I had the most respect for, Mr. Fable himself. Station. And if you guys haven't, go vote for Scotty and Fable in the CBC Awards.
And Gary.
No, don't vote for them. And of course, our guest tonight, none other than Stu. We're having him back. You know, we love seeing his books and hearing that, but we wanted more. We wanted to dig into Stu, see what makes him tick.
Yep.
And you know, find out where he keeps the bodies, all that stuff. We're doing it.
Thanks so much for having me back, man. Can't wait to
Absolutely.
get into it.
So Stu, give a quick 2 minutes on who you are again, and for anyone that's watching this for the first time, and then I will go say hi to the audience, and we'll come right back to you.
Yeah, man. I'm Stu, proud member of the PCP Army, Bad Batch. Been in this game for, I don't know, the IG community about a year and a half now. You can find me at Dr. Doom's Fan Club on IG and YouTube. IG, I'm there every day, sharing the books I love. Right now, celebrating this month of Doom with the homies, but always there for like Trigger Happy Thursday, 30 Sets Up Saturday, all the amazing hashtags we got going on. So yeah, on IG and also on YouTube. You know, always popping up on Blood Splatter Chatter with the homies. I'm going to be on the monthly comic book review tomorrow with Robbie and the guys. Got the interviews, the creator conversations with my homies E and Nick. So just got my hand in a variety of things. Got some great things coming up here in the future that I can't wait to get into and talk about and announce soon enough. But yeah, it's been a great year and a half so far in the community, and can't wait for the future. But find me at Dr. Doom's Fan Club, IG, and YouTube.
Well,
thanks for having me back.
Been welcomed in with better arms than Fables. So
yeah, man,
you came in the
best
right
big
way,
brother, the best big brother to have.
And Fable, you got to send me the link to that Blood Splatter Chatter so I can check that out.
Yeah, man, you need to. I know you're a horror guy. You would love it.
I am.
We got to get you over there at some point. Talk some horror.
Fable tries to limit what he does with me.
You're expensive, man. You're expensive. There he is. He's in the chat. Yeah, our homie Bird. Yeah.
Fable knows if he asks me, I'm there for him anytime.
Of course, man. That's why I tagged you in the post, because I knew you loved horror, man. I want to see you.
I know you're an aficionado, more so than me.
Tonight.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna say hi. We're gonna go.
Absolutely.
James Lascousis, good evening, sir. First in, as always, Miss Christina Payne. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Congrats
Paul,
on your nomination.
Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, sir. Mr. Scotty Vaughn, who is making his second appearance in a week here, about, if not, it's close enough.
Yeah.
Joe from Anachronic Comics, one of my favorite people. Good evening, Joe. Nice to see you. Brad Wellbore from Canada. Good to see you, Brad. Thank you for making it in.
What's up, bro?
And we have Mr. Milt Miller, a great collector himself, and someone that I was super happy to become really good friends with this year. So I met him through Joe and the gang, and a guy that I affectionately refer to as that SOB, and he knows why. Milt, I hope you're doing well, sir. Great to see you. Mr. KBDM, always out there supporting everybody. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And let's keep going down here. We got Mr. Bobby De La Ghetto, one of the legends in our community.
Hey,
how you doing? Oh, and we got Blood Splatter Chatter right there. Good evening, all. Thank you so much. And we're going. We have 9-panel grid. Good evening, sir. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, man. Oh, yeah.
All right. A couple new faces, which I like to see. And pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. All right. Saying station. All right. So as I do, I'll just keep giving everyone a tip of the hat as they populate into the chat and get our ding dings there. And but we're gonna turn it over to you, Stu, because we're gonna ask you questions, man. Well, first, before we do that, we got to make you big because you're the man of the hour. It's all about you.
I don't know if I can deal with this like for a whole hour, man.
you already did on the 10-1-1.
You're right. But I was putting comic books in front of my face. You know what I mean?
He's being modest, chat. He was a spotlight hog.
Yeah, totally. That's me.
So we'll start out simple, Stu. What was your first exposure to comics? We'll start out with a couple basics, and then we'll tune it in specifically for you.
Yeah, for sure. Earliest memories are getting into comics around 6-7 years old when Batman was popping off. I just talked about this with my man Scotty on Monday night. I was born in '82, so I think that 80 dropped in '89. I was 7 years old when that book took hold, and it started with Batman and kind of grew from there. So that was definitely my first exposure. I have the that movie book adaptation comic written by Denny O'Neil, and I forget who's on the art, but and I just remember wearing that VHS out, the Batman VHS at home, man. It was just such a seminal moment. I feel so blessed to have that moment happen as a kid, as a 7-year-old kid, you know what I mean, in my lifetime, to have that movie and that moment in pulp culture occur during such a formative time in my life.
Right,
so
when that movie
was
came
definitely
out,
my entry in the game.
Yeah, I was 19 and it was huge. It was huge. All anyone talked about. Everyone was wearing Batman shirts.
Yeah,
it was so. Huge. Did your parents take you to the theater to see it?
For sure. And then
good parents.
They definitely. But it was definitely the memories that that stick most in my mind are at home watching it on VHS, just time and time again, like the balcony scene, pulling out that ridiculous revolver and shooting down the bat plane. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? All those great moments. And it's crazy when you go back and watch, some of your childhood nostalgia things. They're a little worse for wear, but that movie is evergreen, just beautiful in all the right ways. Never hasn't lost.
And a Prince soundtrack. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, right.
You can't go wrong with Prince,
obviously I didn't know who Prince was at 7 years old, but that's something I really came to love and appreciate after the fact. But yeah, absolutely.
Man, I was listening to Prince. I think I discovered Prince when I was 9.
Dude, what?
And I was listening to from the Controversy album up. I've always listened to Prince.
Wow, shout out to you. Man.
Nice.
And I was always mad at people. He's better than Michael Jackson. You can't tell me different. I was always on the Prince side. I mean, they're both great musicians, but Prince could do it all, right?
There's definitely an argument to be made. Yeah,
it didn't matter if there was an instrument near him, he was playing it.
Yeah, yep. He was
all right.
One of a kind.
All right, so now. Batman '89, and again, that was an iconic movie when it came out. You had a couple that set us up for what we have today, right? You had Superman '78, Batman '89, then you had Blade. Those 3 movies just kept enough hope alive in the superhero genre until we got to the plethora of stuff we have today.
Absolutely.
Now, when you were a kid, though, you had to be sitting there because I think you're probably old enough where there was still Saturday morning cartoons, right?
Yep.
All right. Now, what were you watching as a little baby Stu sitting in front of the TV with your cereal? What were your go-to cartoons?
I like that one. I like that question.
Man,
I always ask it. I love it. I like to know what people watch growing up.
Definitely, now this isn't like necessarily. I'm gonna kind of lump this in as not all a little bit older than when I was 6 or 7 and first get into Batman stuff, but Batman the animated series and X-Men the animated series were 2 absolutely monumental ones for me when we're talking about comic books. Batman the animated series for sure I think was one of the most one of the biggest shows for me, and one of the shows that I still go back to as an adult, as a father, want to get my kids involved and fans of, and I feel like I've been successful in that task so far. But the Mask of the Phantasm movie, those were such flawless shows to me. But there's so many that came and went. Man,
yeah,
I don't know
cartoons when we were coming up. Did you ever watch Captain Planet?
Captain Planet for sure, absolutely.
I love the Dungeons and Dragons back in the day. Thundar the Barbarian.
Nice.
Thundercats was a huge one for me.
Yes, absolutely.
I had like the sleeping bag and the alarm clock.
Definitely Super Friends.
Masters of the Universe was huge for me.
That
but
was huge.
So I would say like Thundercats and Masters of the Universe for early young Stu, and then like young adolescent Stu, it was definitely like Batman and X-Men.
What about
Joe making fun of us for being young just because his parents had to put up a puppet thing to make his cartoons?
what about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man? That was big.
Yeah.
Yes, bro.
Famous comic.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
I didn't like the cartoon because my exposure to the Turtles was the serious Mirage ones, and I loved the serious Turtles. Then when the cartoon came out, I'm like, what did they do? They
See,
changed.
all I ever knew
completely.
for a
Like,
long time was the cartoon.
The cartoon turtles.
the cartoon Turtles is what made them so popular, though.
That's what I thought there were before
Me too.
I got
Same.
a little older. I was like, wait a minute, this was a comic book? And then when I saw the comic book and I saw they all had red bandanas, I was like, how can you tell which one is which?
Yeah.
Same.
Well, especially in the old Mirage book, they're all black and white.
Yep.
My pen just quit on me to ask my questions. All right. So we got that, but I thought for sure you'd mention a Fantastic Four cartoon because there's been a couple. Did you ever end up watching any of them?
I did in hindsight, but no, not at the moment. And like I think that 1992 season was like here and gone in one. I think it lasted 2 seasons. That and I think it was the
anime style one.
No, this was animated in the early 90s, I believe, wasn't it? Like I thought
there was one that had an anime style to it.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, I haven't seen that one, dude. No, I just remember there was one in the early 90s that I think it was that, and there was Iron Man, and they both lasted like 2 seasons.
I have both those series. Yeah, that 90s one is my favorite one. It's so good.
Yeah, I remember like vaguely watching a couple of that, but it wasn't like super impactful like the ones previously mentioned.
Yeah, Herbie the Robot, that was even earlier, yeah. When they were scared kids would set themselves on fire.
Yeah, it was wild when they switched it up. And
so Batman was kind of your entry into comics.
Yes.
How did you go from Batman to being Dr. Doom's fan club? How did you become a Dr. Doom simp?
That was like more of a transition as an adult. He was definitely on my radar as a kid with a I think I told Scotty this. There was a what if issue where what if Spider-Man had kept his cosmic powers, and that's like where he first kind of came on my radar. Trying to hold the Beyonder's power and be all powerful. I just I just love the way he talked. But I ultimately one of the first comics that besides Batman, one of the first comics that I had as my own was hand-me-down Fantastic Four from my mom. So I always had a soft spot for Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom. I really loved some of the Fantastic Four of the 90s around like the 340, 350, 360, 370s, the Art Adams, Walt Simonson stuff. It's not the best, Fantastic Four stuff, but that was some of the stuff I loved as a kid.
I don't know. See, Fantastic Four always had its own particular feel to me, and it had so many different great eras. And whenever you read the Fantastic Four, it was all about just how the four of them were getting along with each other. Yeah, the big bad they were facing was fun, but how are Johnny and the Thing going to pick on each other this one? What traumas Ben Grimm going through because of how he looks, and there was I always had that dynamic that no other comic book had, which is always a draw to me. And even when they had the replacement ones with the She-Hulk and Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Uncle Strider, all of them, I still love that. That was still good because they wrote that well. And then you're waiting for the originals to come back and see how they did come back.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Well put. And it's I don't know. Yeah, it's a series that's evergreen in that sense. It's the foundation. It's the the founding block of the Marvel universe, and in so many ways. So I just love. I think it's had so many great and consistent runs throughout its history. It's had some flops too, for sure. But like when you think about
when you're around for what 80 years.
Yeah, absolutely. but it's like you have the the cornerstone stuff with Lee and Kirby, then you have Byrne stuff, and I even love like the Jim Lee stuff of the 90s, even though it's not the greatest story wise. The art is incredible, and then of course like Hickman's run on it is just so legendary and such a big moment for Marvel in the 2000s. So yeah, man, it's just one of my comics through and through. I've been enjoying and not enjoying this recent run, but that was the seed that kind of got planted early on in my mind about the Doom fandom and putting him on my radar, and then really coming back to comics, going back to where it all started with Lee and Kirby, and just reading a lot of those old. I wanted just to go back when I came back into comics. I wanted to go back to some of the early FF stuff and just kind of reading that, like reading the first 10, 20 issues of that, and Doom's introduction into the
Oh, they're fun.
Fall in love with them all over again. And then like Supervillain Team Up, when he's just at his most like ridiculous and haughty with Namor, and it's like a buddy comedy.
Oh hell
Like
yeah.
there's so many amazing facets to him. And then like Secret Wars, obviously, like to me the greatest big event in the Marvel universe, 2 times really. And 2015, it was just so epic with God Emperor Doom and how Hickman spun that tale. And I think that's really, I just love how there's so many great writers and artists who for them Doom is up. Like when they're doing Doom, they want to do Doom justice. And I love that he gets that respect. And I think you come with like a book like Secret Wars was the perfect example of that.
Well, that and just one of the most iconic character designs too.
Absolutely.
Definitely. That character,
And he's one of those villains that where,
man,
when he's actually like just being the ruler for Latveria, he's just trying to take care of his people. So
yeah,
there's layers to him. He's not always.
no, the complexity of it
is
is what I love about it. Yeah.
I don't see
Now,
him
what
as
is
a
your
villain.
favorite go-to storyline in comics that you can always return to and read over and over?
Oh
again?
man, I got to pick one.
It's hard.
It's all right. You could tell us a couple of them.
Okay.
Hit us with your highlights.
Yeah, just some good ones.
Yeah. So Scalped by Jason Aaron is always one of my favorites. I always recommend that to folks.
I've never read that.
Dude, you got to check that out. That was on DC Vertigo. Just a crazy story about this native reservation and this casino and all the folks on it. And I thought it was fantastic. Just one of the better comics I've ever read. I always try to recommend that one to people. Man, since we're just on the subject of Fantastic Four, Alex Ross's Full Circle was fantastic that he wrote, and that's kind of based off of old Kirby and Lee story, but he did the art for that. That's fantastic. That's available in hardcover form. I highly recommend that. And it's just a beautiful piece of art, beautiful piece of work, great story. I definitely recommend that to folks if you haven't read that one. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, like just took the art form in so many amazing new poetic directions. I just thought, each issue is a wonder. And there's also the issues where he ties it in the DC universe with Batman and, when Abby gets taken to Gotham. And there's just so many moments in that are just some of my favorite comic book moments. And the way, Moore's lyricism, the language he uses, it's art, man. It's one of those books you can point to where, if people try to dismiss comics as an immature art form or something for kids, I would present Alan Moore.
And Milt agrees with you in Full Circle. Nice. I'm surprised Bobby hasn't read it because Bobby's one of those guys that knows everything.
Yeah, man. I'm a huge Alex Ross stan. So,
and Paul is asking, was Scout indie from the 80s after nuclear war when they had the case of the squirts?
Oh wow!
Oh goodness! Nice. So that's a good highlight. So the last issue of FF I read, I just read it the other day again, was $2.99. It's one of my favorites. It's She-Hulk. It's the one with She-Hulk's punching the thing through a wall and Spider-Man's on the wall. Yeah. And it's great because her and the Thing are friends, but he's going through some stuff, and she picks a fight with him to help him work through it the way that superheroes do. and they wrecked this whole town that needed to be demolished, and she tricked them into helping the demolishers demolish the town. And then Bobby comes in the Human Torch comes in at the end, and he forgives him, and he's going to be him and Alicia's best man. And it's just a fun, good story. And it's just built around these characters caring for each other, even though they're beating the crap out of each other for the whole comic.
A friendship that still endures, because even as recent as I forgot what it was, but they have a fight club.
Yes, you brought it up. I was just going to bring it up in the She-Hulk one.
Yeah. Punch
And
Club.
Becker's always there playing the poor me card.
Yep. Punch Club.
Yeah. Have you read the two She-Hulk series, the last 2 10-issue ones, Stu?
I read the majority of the first run, Gary, and I liked it, dude. I love that, like you guys are talking about. I love that fight club scenario that they had going on.
It's in the second run too.
Good.
I got to get to the second run. I'm
great.
sad to see it end, but I'm glad that it got a revival, because it definitely deserved it. And I'm glad that book got some love while it was around, because they were doing excellent things on that.
And it had a good writer, and I just love that all 20 of those issues between those 2 series was just all character development and
Absolutely.
fun situations, and they remembered the relationships, right? That like the Ben Grimm and her. So now,
yeah, absolutely.
If you could team Doom up with anyone in comics and make it an event, what's it going to be? Who's he teaming up with?
Like they're teaming up together, or they're going against each other?
Yes, they're teaming up to take over.
Oh man. Anyone in Marvel Comics or comics?
Anyone in comics at all, and then Doom's eventually going to screw them over, but
yeah,
you know it.
Man, that's a good question.
just like when he was going to screw the Beyonder over and the other people during all the other events.
I don't know, man. I'd want it to be. You know what? He's gone against Galactus so much. I wouldn't mind seeing Doom and Galactus together. That would be a pretty unholy dynamic duo, man. They would be a force to be reckoned with, for sure.
Doom with the power cosmic. That'd be crazy,
right? Like they got each other's back. That because it's always those two going against each other, especially here recently. So I'll go Galactus. That would be crazy to see.
That'd be sick. That's a good
I'd like to see him with Maestro too.
Maestro,
right? Because he can't overpower Maestro, so he's gonna have to outthink him. But Maestro's not stupid. He's got Bruce Banner's brain, so that would be like a deadly. Both of them, like a chess game. Both of them trying to appear like they're helping each other, but trying to outplay each other for the end game.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know it.
Like I think you could make a really good strategic comic with those two. Huh?
Yeah, I thought that they had some type of encounter in comics.
Yeah, but I want to see like a deeper one where where they have to play against each other.
Yeah.
Like they have to get along, and then they're both playing their long game. Because you got the intellect of Bruce Banner and the intellect of Doom.
Yep.
Right.
I think if you give it to Peter David, let him do some more with it. He never disappoints with a Maestro story.
Oh, absolutely. Peter David would be amazing on that.
Yeah. I would pick the Maker.
Oh, nice. Good pick too.
That'd be dope. Good pick, bro. I love that.
So let's get a little bit into the YouTube with you. So when did you decide to start a channel? What was your impetus for it? Like, who pushed you into it, or did you just decide you were going to do it?
Just kind of threw myself in there, man. Yeah. Probably in hindsight, I should have kind of taken my time on that. In that respect, I started out on IG, just kind of, making content with my boy Steph, and went from there. But I wanted to talk about comics on a weekly basis, and originally it was going to be comics and hip hop, and that was kind of like that kind of changed as time went on, and then it became new comics, and we're doing new comics and old comics. But just wanted to talk about comics, and just kind of threw myself into the deep end, so to speak. Yeah.
I know, but like we touched on earlier, though, but you landed in good arms with Fable as someone to help guide you.
Man. Absolutely. Yeah, it was Fable's guy. I definitely wouldn't have been like it was at the start of making content. Fable reached out and invited me into the family, so to speak. So that was a blessing to have those guys and their advice and expertise, because there's so many things on the technical side too that you need to learn. You know what I mean? So besides just getting up the nerve to put yourself out there on camera. So yeah, shout out.
Don't feel bad, dude. If this ugly face can be on camera, yours looks like God Emperor Doom.
Stop it.
But how long have you been on now? A little over a year.
Oh man, yeah. I want to say sometime like early to mid last summer, I think, is when I started doing stuff. So yeah, about a little over a year now. Yep.
And one thing I like to ask too, right? Because a lot of us got on here during the pandemic and started our channels. But one of the reasons we stayed here is that we found something here that we didn't find in our regular lives, right? People that have shared interests with us. Because, as a comic collector, finding people with shared interests in your everyday life is really tough. It's one of those niche things to like. Did you have anyone in your regular life that you could talk comics with, or did it basically just open up for you once you got on YouTube?
No, it opened up for me once I got on YouTube. There was some, guys at the shop and stuff, but sometimes those guys at the shop, you feel like they've been burdened with everybody else coming through and wanting to talk comics. Sometimes they're like a little
right. It's like the barber, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be that guy, like, because I'd be so antsy to talk stuff. But yeah, that was really like the only time that I could really get excited and have conversations was at the shop. And then, just like I said, sometimes you want to pull the reins back in. You don't want to be that guy. But it was definitely getting into comics at the onset of COVID, and then through that, like eventually finding the community on IG and YouTube and going.
Now, were you watching comic YouTube channels?
Yes, but it was like,
did you discover that after IG?
There was like a couple of like the bigger ones, like Comic Pop, and of course Robbie, was one of the ones at the outset, but I wasn't watching a ton. That's something I've definitely, I feel like there's so many out there you can never, they're not.
Yeah, it's impossible.
But like there's so many good ones at the same time. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, because I'll find so many channels that, whether it be a big or small, I'm like, why hasn't this shown up on my radar, or wherever these people hiding? There's so many different corners of the community I'm still finding out about day to day. So I think that's what I love about the community. And there's something for everybody. Every facet of the hobby that you could want covered on YouTube is covered in one way or shape or form. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and we should definitely celebrate that.
Nice. Yeah. Now, I consider you lucky because I'm an old guy, and all you young guys got to grow up with all these movies around you all the time, where we just wish for them as kids. Like, we just wished for something. Like when I got that cheesy Captain America show on TV, as bad as that was, I was still eating it up and like nerding out. It's a shield, and stupid shit like that. Didn't matter. It was an invisible piece of plastic that was garbage. You were seeing something. And then they had that cat movie in the 90s, which nobody saw, which wasn't bad for what it was.
Do you remember the Flash series?
My bad. You had
no, go ahead, bro.
Series ever, man. The Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno. That was amazing.
Oh, right? Well, him and Wonder Woman.
There you go. Did you watch that Flash series in the 90s with what's his name?
With John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, I love that one.
I have the comic adaptation of it too. The big special.
Nice, dude. Nice. Hell yeah.
That's cool. When that came on, I was loving it. I'm like, that's a thick Flash costume, but it didn't matter. You were getting a superhero.
Yeah, just happy to have it.
Yeah.
And now it's funny because just the TV shows now look better than the movies back then, which is nuts. So, what's been your favorite series in the modern movies now? Like, what have you really gravitated towards?
Man, I would say talking about the MCU.
No, just all superhero movies.
Oh, okay. I've loved the Batman iterations that we've been getting. Throughout, I loved elements of Ben Affleck's Batman. I love the.
I'm a Ben Affleck supporter for Batman. I thought he was great. My top two favorite Batmans are Keaton and Affleck.
Absolutely.
I mean, he had the presence of Batman. He was big. He was the biggest. He actually looked intimidating as Batman. Plus, I thought he was a suave Bruce Wayne, and I only thought the two people that really pulled off playing the duality of the Bruce Wayne and Batman persona were those two because they could play both. And I think everyone else that played them was missing a little bit
So well said.
on one of them.
Yeah, so well
It's just
said.
like
And
the Superman Clark Kent. Like the only person I think really nailed it so far is Christopher Reeve because of his Clark Kent portrayal.
Yeah, he did a great job.
I love Cavill too, though. I thought Henry did a.
No, Cavill's great, but they didn't really give him a chance to play.
No,
Clark.
they didn't. You're right.
They didn't write a good script for him.
And that's not his fault, but the scripts failed some of these great actors we've had in the roles.
Yeah. I thought the two scenes I love with the Batfleck or whatever, where that first scene when they the two Gotham City, this is Batman versus Superman, I think those Gotham City cops come and they're going into that building where all those like people are being trafficked or whatever, right? Yeah. And then he's up on the roof and he kind of like, and it's very just bat-like and animalistic.
It's very comic cinematic.
How he crawls across the roof and then like, is up out of the, I just love that scene. And also, of course, at the end when he comes, just rips through that, it comes through the wall on those dudes. And that's like a video game, man. Him taking out all those dudes. That's one of the best superhero action scenes, period, to me.
I was gonna say, and that felt like what Batman, because everyone loves the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and I think they're clunky. And I know that's blasphemy, but the fight choreography in those just is slow, it's chunky, it just doesn't do it for me. Like, and like great good stories, yes, but the choreography and the Bat voice always took me out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like do you need a Bat cough drop? Yes, I do. Like the voice was ridiculous. It just sounded like he got sick.
Yeah, I think you either hated or loved the voice for sure, but
right. And I love Christian Bale and other stuff. I just didn't care for his in the. I didn't like the way the cheeked him up too. Like he had puffy little baby cheeks in that costume.
Yeah, he
did. It was a cute little Batsy.
He's not getting too many fans tonight on that one.
I always have a polarizing opinion about something.
Yeah, I just want to switch gears and start doing Chris Nolan Batman reviews with you right now, bro. MCU. What else? I've loved.
Schultze's got one for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He wanted to know what is your Mount Rushmore of comic book artists. Give us your top 4.
Nice.
I'll say my man Mobius behind me, Jack Kirby.
Great choice.
Alex Ross and only got one more left.
Oh, there was one I thought would be in there that I haven't heard yet.
Man, this is tough.
It's tough, man. 4? Yeah.
I'm trying to
See, I thought you were going to say John Byrne for his Fantastic Four.
He's right there. It's like, I'll go Jim Lee, though, just because Jim Lee was so huge in my childhood. X-Men, okay. Jim Lee was like, that was definitely so big for me. So big love to Jim Lee. So yeah, that's my 4.
Now, do you have a favorite writer out there that no matter what title they're on, you'll go give it a shot just because they're writing it?
I don't know if I have. I don't know if any modern guys necessarily get that pass. You know what? Daniel Warren Johnson gets that pass. I'll give Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah, definitely. He's definitely one of those guys.
He's been killing it.
There's guys I really love, but like, sometimes you can't. It doesn't always. Not every book works for you.
Right. Not everyone's great with every character. Yeah. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Absolutely. And some books I feel like I find I really like some guys' stuff, and then I really like 2/3 of their stuff, and I don't like the other third of it, or then vice versa. So I don't know. It's hard to judge these days. But yeah, I'd definitely say Daniel Warren Johnson is a guy I bank on to be, whether he's writing or drawing.
Now let's get into horror a little bit because you do this horror thing with our guy Fable and some other gents, and we'll have you guys shout them out again because I'm already blanking on the name even though I wrote it down. Blood Splatter Chatter.
Yep.
So what was your first exposure to horror? When did you know that you were a horror guy and that this was a genre for you?
See, that's the thing, Gary. I'm kind of not a horror guy. I'm kind of new to the genre.
Is it new?
Relative? Yeah, I'm new to the genre, relatively speaking, especially compared to Link and Fable and Vern. Like these guys have an extensive personal library of horror. I don't. I've ticked off some of the classics. I've got some other ones under my belt. A lot more recently, I would say, in the last 2 decades than anything else. But something it's something I didn't love. It's not a genre of movie I loved initially, but I've really grown to get like really into and love and respect the the je ne sais quoi of so many different directors, filmmakers, cinema, like practical effects artists. Like there's so many aspects and things to love about the genre. And I love how, it's scary as hell sometimes, but it never takes itself too seriously, I think, as a whole. Like there's always fun to be had in horror, as wild as that sounds. I always have a good time watching the movies, even if they scare the shit out of me. So
now, what movie have you watched that's really disturbed you, if you've been disturbed by one?
Yeah.
Man. I mean, so many through like different time periods in my life, but
see, Fable drew you in, then he scared you, and then he left you just huddled in a corner rocking yourself, right? I'll be good, Fable. I'll be good.
I'd say what's one recently? Midsummer. Midsummer was a really good one that left me like deeply unsettled recently.
God, I hated that movie so much.
You hated it?
I knew it was going to happen in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, she's going to join the fucking cult. I'm like, and then she joined the cult, and then the big shock moment with the old people jumping off the thing. I'm like, really? That's your moment?
I still loved it, man.
I hated that movie, and I hated Heretic.
I didn't see Heretic.
Oh no, Hereditary. Hereditary.
Oh, Hereditary. Okay.
I'm like, we'll get to that. I'm like, really? That's the big scare? Naked old people in a fucking...
Hey, that could be scary.
I was like, I was so mad.
So what's a recent movie that you really enjoyed, man?
Oh, there's a couple, but for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
One of the ones I thought was so well done was Late Night with the Devil is amazing.
I love that. Yeah, we reviewed
Late
that
Night
one.
with the Devil is so well done. It captivates you. The story's great. It draws you in. The way they set up the 70s aesthetic is amazing. Abigail was 100% fun from beginning to end. I watched that movie 4 times in the last 2 weeks. It's so much fun.
Is that the child vampire one?
Yeah, it's just everyone does their job. It's great. Kevin Durant as the big guy is hilarious. And it's just a really good movie. Where Evil Lurks is a very disturbing movie. That's Argentinian.
Yeah, we watched that one too.
Yeah, we saw that one.
That's really good. And also another Argentinian horror movie, Legions, which is really good.
Okay, I gotta.
And
watch
that's got some creepy effects in it.
Yeah.
But one of my all-time favorites is a very disturbing movie because it's like a cult one, right? But supernatural, and that's Lord of Illusions.
Is that Clive Barker?
Bobby, everybody knows the thing's my favorite.
Don't bring that up.
News.
That's what I thought he was going to say, Bobo.
Yeah.
But everybody knows that already. But you said recently too. I mean, I've always watched that recently, but I thought you were asking like for new stuff. Plus, now those are horror movies I think are on a step above stuff that are really great. Like I just watched Bite, which was fun. Sting, which was fun, about the alien spider, and that was fun for what it was. It wasn't incredible, but it was entertaining. But I also have a softness for B horror movies too. Like the Evil Dead franchise is one of my all-time favorite franchises.
Yes.
I can watch Evil Dead at any point, anytime. The show Ash versus the Evil Dead was fantastic. Introduced great characters. When I saw the 2 new characters, I'm like, really? These guys are going to be with Ash. First episode was over. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love these guys so much. Like, I can't wait to see them all the time. It was just their dynamic was so good.
Yeah.
And just, you know, Ash being stupid, saying dumb things to them all the time, and them having to just help save his ass. And so I love that kind of stuff. I love anthology horror too. But I love a good creature feature. If you just give me a good creature, most of the time I'm happy. You don't even have to give me a great story. You just have to give me a great creature.
That's awesome. I think we're missing out on. We need a Gary B horror podcast or a horror show or something, man. How passionate you get when you talk about those movies, man. I want to hear more.
I could just hear him now in the chat on Sunday when I go over my top 10 80s horrors. Going, what the hell is wrong with you?
What is this list? All these suck.
When does that go live? Because I work this Sunday. I don't actually have to work twice because of the holiday. So I only work 6 to 2 in the morning. I don't have to work the overnight.
We're going live 4 p.m. Eastern on Sunday.
Perfect. Make sure you remind me.
Oh yeah.
So all right. So you had those. Now you like some of those as I did. Is there any kind of genre of horror you don't care for? Like for me, I don't like slasher flicks. They're really boring. Like the Freddys, the Jasons. You always know they're going to catch up. There's not really a story there.
That's my.
I got. Yeah. I like.
I'm sorry, Scotty.
It's all good. I'm a slasher guy.
As long as it's good, it doesn't bother me, man. I'm not like opposed to any one format or another. I think everything has something to offer as long as you present something compelling. So
right, and one of my favorite is Hellraiser.
Horror is the one genre that has always saved Hollywood time and time again.
Yes,
Hollywood is in a dumpster, a good horror movie comes out, and it's back up again.
And not only that, you can make a great horror movie for a couple $1 million.
Yep,
and make 100% or more of its budget back in one weekend.
And so many legendary directors and actors get their first starts in these movies.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, that's weird. So I thought the way you were being on the podcast, I thought you were always into it. So that was a surprise to me.
Yeah, no, man. That's part of the thing. That's one of the things I enjoy about being on the show is like I get hip to like so many things that I like that and PCP movie night. I get hip. He
doesn't like the devil ones. Get behind me. Then don't watch Where Evil. Oh, there's plus there's a lot of good K horror too. Parasite
Absolutely.
the Gray was a great series on Netflix. And there was one there which dealt with the devil. It was an old guy in a village and not a happy ending. But Bobby would hate that. But yeah, I love a lot of foreign horror. But for me, and let me know if you're the same, when I watch a foreign horror movie or any foreign movie, it's got to be in original language. If you don't have original language on, you miss part of this. You're not getting part of the soul of that movie.
Same.
Something's missing.
I want the original language.
It does not feel the same dubbed.
I completely agree. Yeah, it always throws me off. Even if it's like animated, the animated stuff. I like the original language, and I'll just read
exactly like if you're watching a Miyazaki or you're watching a Fist of the North Star, whatever you're watching, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, it feels awkward and aloof, and those emotional moments don't hit the same way, at least to me.
Now you do. I'm gonna ask this because this is one of my favorite questions. All right, so you get to be in a comic book, but you get a death scene in a comic.
Mm-hmm.
What comic are you in? What character is killing you? Who's drawing it and who's writing it?
Ooh, man, put
me in like your death cameo.
I got a good one for him too next.
Absolutely.
Since Aliens vs. Avengers just came out, and we were talking about Secret Wars tonight, man, put me in like a Secret Wars scene where Doom's killing me slow, like horribly, like ripping out my spine like Thanos or something like that. And then, I'll take Hickman writing it and Esad Ribic drawing that bad boy, man. So I look epic at least going out. You know what I mean?
Esad Ribic.
I want it to look like a Renaissance painting.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's my choice.
You're not gonna go down mouth and a face hugger.
Pass.
I got one for you, Stu.
All right, bro, hit me.
What's the last time that you remember having an outward emotion from reading a comic book, whether it be just like out loud laughing or maybe tearing up a little bit? What's the last book that you remember reading that made you have that sort of emotion?
Definitely. Ice Cream Man. I don't remember the number, but there's one that kind of goes through the experience of a rehab facility. And like that one is,
I love
you know
that
what I'm
one.
talking about?
I did a video on that one.
Dude, that one is moving in so many ways to me, and also like darkly hilarious. And like I just point to that particular issue. That book kind of like makes me feel some type of emotion close to that almost every time I read it. But
I love that issue, dude. I
yeah,
feel like
absolutely.
I lived that issue at one point in my life. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, me and you both, brother. But it's it's a comic that means so much to me personally, and I would put that one, that series above the rest. I know when that series is coming, I can possibly look forward to a moment like that every time I read it. You know what I mean?
Crazy. Out of all issues, you picked that one. That's one of my favorites, man. That's crazy.
Dude,
it's crazy too. They go, "Oh, I'm not a horror guy." So Ice Cream Man.
Very true. Very true.
Now, what's one aspect of comic collecting that people may not know about you that you do? Something that's particular to you.
Man, I don't
What's
know.
something weird you feel like that nobody else does that pertaining to his question?
Oh yeah, the guilty pleasures.
I definitely try to fill out 90s runs that are worthless, and like I'm filling out Silver Surfer from the 90s, but it's just like some of these issues, but I want to do, there's one thing I want to do with like the X-Men where I want to bridge the gap from, I have all the new X-Men run, but I have the old X-Men run up to like 40 from when I was collecting as a kid. So like, I kind of want to bridge the gap in between for reasons that aren't healthy or like financially sound. But like at the same time, there's so many cases like that where it's like, at first I won't think about it, and then like that seed or that idea will kind of grow in my head. It's like, well, don't you want to have the whole run? And then I'll start to see issues or something like that I want from the run, or I'll buy like a stretch of it. And so that happens like way more often than it should. And
being a completionist, a run completionist is tough.
It is, dude.
But I'm with you. I have a bunch of like 90s
starting
ones.
new ones. Like it's unhealthy.
Yeah, it is.
It's such a good feeling when you complete a run, right? Like nobody cares about Silver Sable, but when I completed that 36 issues, I was like, yes.
Yeah. Some of those are hard to find, man.
Dude, I finished the new X-Men run, and I put it in the box, and I was like looking around, waiting for doves to start flying off or bells to start chiming or something. Somebody drop some confetti on me or something.
Milt is absolutely correct. It's a disease. It really is.
It took forever. Like, do you know how long this took?
Well, that's too. Like when I got back in, right? Because I had to complete all the Cull runs on Marvel. I did that. Had to complete the Conan run. Did that. Had to complete the Savage Sword run. Did that. Had to complete all the Marvel Red Sonjas. Had to complete all the Marvel Solomon Kanes. Then all of a sudden, I got the Savage She-Hulk. Got that run, and but all these great. And then the Spider-Woman. I got so lucky when I got back into it because comics were still cheap, and I was getting like near mint issues out of 50-cent bins.
Oh wow!
And completing runs for 50 cents a comic a lot of times.
Man, that is over.
And now a book that was 50 cents a couple years ago is a $6 to $8 book now, just because.
Yeah.
Well, there's not any real reason behind it. It's just it's a filler issue, and it's still $6 to $8. It's the Bronze Age, right? Yes. I also know it's not worth $6 to $8.
Yep.
But it's tough on new collectors now because everything's popped up so much that even issues that shouldn't cost a lot of money do.
It's crazy. It is.
Yeah, my hopes of getting Uncanny are totally dashed, man. I came into this like one day I'm going to get all the Uncanny X-Men, and then I was like, no, I'm not.
Right? Look at it. See, that SOB's calling me out right there. Milt, you're 100% correct. There's some Conan issues I have 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
That's awesome.
Jeez.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
mean, if
Yeah,
you see it and it's
I love that.
reasonable,
I do love
get
that
it.
about back issues, like how you can pick and choose. Like, all right, so in hindsight, I know that that series to me is timeless or immortal or something that like there's a lot of series I have like, oh, I collected this in trade paperback first, but now I like realize how much I love in that series and how much it means to me. So I want to collect it in singles. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
I like
definitely.
that hindsight aspect of back issues, but like Milt said, it's also a disease, man. Like you can't
Right.
turn that faucet on and turn it off so easily. It's
Now we're going with Milt's question too. That's another thing I have for you. So we all had those comics that we love, right? Like
Mhm.
Conan the Barbarian 100. If I can find it in a comic shop and it's $8 to $10 and it's in great shape, I buy it every time. I can't have
Oh,
enough copies of it. Do you have any book, like Cali Comics, right, with his New Mutants and Magic? Do you have any comic that if you see it, you'll buy it every single time, no matter how many copies you have?
yeah, like the X-Men #1, the gatefold one. I have like 7 copies of that for no reason at all. I think I bought like three or four together one time for like $3 or $4, and
I
then
was
I
gonna
Talk
say
just
about
those were in the 50-cent
275.
bins too forever.
yeah, like those are
You
so I
talking about
just
275?
no number X-Men #1,
No,
like
the Jim Lee X-Men one when it
the
Oh,
relaunched.
Jim
the
Lee,
number
like
one
the
gatefold.
gatefold.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, the #1 gatefold. Like those are, yeah, they're out there everywhere. So I think I have like 7 copies of that. I'll buy it if it's like a dollar or two. It's a book that meant so much to me as a kid. Like, and it's a book I love to go put in we have those little community libraries in our neighborhood where you can go and put books. Like that's a book I'd love to go and just stash around. I've done that a couple times now with that book. So
awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
that's really the only book I really do it with, though, man. I'm too cheap and too broke to be buying multiple copies of books. Like I need new copies of new issues. You know what I mean? That's the way I look
Yeah,
at it. But
Gary.
I know, right? See,
Influencer.
Fable can't wait to give me shit all the time. I see you saw it live right there. Just kidding. No.
Scotty Spawn is like that book for you.
Well, that's
Well,
that's the first Angela.
Yeah, first Angela. When I first got back
Okay.
into collecting, I was hardcore collecting Spawn. Not so much
Okay.
anymore, but
Yeah, man.
Yeah, then I had the Angela Queen of Hell run and stuff like that's good.
yes, it is. Yeah, I collected all those as well.
Plus,
Yeah.
I had that hard to find 3-issue miniseries of Angela.
Oh, sweet.
Because now people, I got it for like $16, which I thought was a lot for 3 issues, but now it sells for like $40 and $50.
I always really liked that character.
Yeah, same here. Yes, exactly, Mill. So let's talk to you about this because we're just talking about the cost of things. This week was really not a happy
Insane.
week for me. Like we got great
Yeah,
books,
it's
right?
ridiculous, man.
But DC's been going to $5.99 format books, which I think is crazy. I think you just hurt your fan base on that. And Marvel, with the last couple Predator and Alien series, the first books, like with the Predator versus Wolverine, $7.99 for the first issue, and then the subsequent issues were cheaper. But these big money grabs on the first issues, like the $8, I think is crazy.
Yeah.
Especially like I paid $8 for 2 copies of the Avengers versus Aliens, but I bought 4 copies of Savage Sword of Conan, all 4 covers, a $6.99 magazine that has 64 or 68 pages.
Yeah,
6
that's a
stories,
great value on
something
that.
that big and that great a format. But then you got a regular floppy that costs $2 more than that.
You can even get
Yeah.
the version for the same price.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then like you've had it with DC, who's just been right. I mean, and Marvel hasn't been as bad because most of their books are $3.99. But they got to get away from an anniversary issue every 25 issues too. Every 25 issues of Spider-Man is an $8 to $10 book for no reason, except they know they can milk money out of you, and they're going to put special covers on it.
I don't buy the $10 anthologies anymore.
It's crazy.
I bought this last one because it was MJ in a Dazzler outfit, so the fuckers got me.
But what about that Muhammad Ali versus Superman facsimile? That joint was $15. I was like, God
Good
damn.
I
Lord,
wanted
I
to
skipped
blank,
it.
but
That's
it was
ridiculous.
so high.
That's
It was
ridiculous. I'm with Anachronic. I read most of my stuff online, and I only buy books that I know I'm going to really like, that are really good, and that I'm going to read later. Like I feel like they've kind of forced you to be that frugal these days, and with your pull list and everything. But yeah, I think it's crazy that, you know, some of these page counts we're getting for some of these prices, it's just dead wrong. They know better, and
Right.
I don't know what the solution is, but
And I don't think just making a double size issue just so they can charge you more money is a solid, because it's not, you know, if you're making a double size issue, it had to build up to it. There had to be a reason. Not like what Scotty was just saying, where they just put 4 half stories in it, which only leads you to other issues that they want you to buy.
For sure. Or they announce a series and keep an artist on for 3 issues, and then it's somebody else. Like, they can't even give you a full story arc with a creative team these days.
True.
Bobby, I had to sell my original Superman versus Muhammad Ali so I could afford to
Oh, it's true, man. You buy that
that's-
one, and then they had a foil, and then they had a blank, and I know people who wanted all 3. So you're looking at $45 or more right there.
And they're doing that a lot with facsimiles now, where you have the regular cover and then you have the foil cover.
Foil and the blank.
And this, you know, it's like the 90s resurgence with all the gimmicks. But there's a trick.
That's kind of what worries me. You know what I mean? When I start seeing, I love the foils and stuff like that, but definitely some of these, I don't know. Sometimes,
well, a lot of times when I'm ordering, hey Joe, great to see you, sir. And go check out Joe's interview that was over on Kevin's channel. And Joe had a great 10 questions with Whack Comics.
Nice. The distillery books have blanks. I'm not sure if they're that size or not.
Distillery?
Yeah, they're oversized.
Yeah, distillery does
I haven't
blanks
seen
for their
any
books.
distillery blank magazines. That
have
doesn't
one.
mean they're not there, but I haven't seen them.
I have one.
Oh, nice. But yeah, the pricing has definitely been crazy. I think it needs to correct itself a little bit, especially with the big 2, because you can get an indie book for $4 that's got a nice hard cardstock cover and thick pages. You can tell me they can afford to make better quality books than the big 2?
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I love about Image, though. And Skybound, they kind of like stay true to their price points and give you quality books at the same time. It's making that decision pretty easy, at least for me. So,
all right, now we've talked DC, we've talked a little Marvel. I know you're a little bit into the indies. What's your favorite indie read right now? And why is it Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics?
You guessed it. You guessed it.
Titan
I was totally about to pull Conan up. Of course I was, bro. Yeah.
So thank you, Gary.
Yeah. I said this before on 1011, man. 2024 is definitely the year I became a Conan fan, you know. Thank you, John. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, it's been such a marvelous year for the title, both with Jim Zub and Savage Sword. It's been like Savage Sword particularly has been such a delight for me. So I'm excited. I'm excited every time. I know a new one just dropped this week, right?
Yep, I read it before I even got home. I had to read it in the car. That's
awesome,
how excited I was.
See, isn't that great? Like, isn't that just a beautiful? That's what it's all about, right there, man. Like, when you're so hyped for a book, you got to read it before you can even.
Oh yeah.
Start.
Titan Comics has really been popping off with some great stuff over the years.
They really have.
Well, and what I like with Titan is, and Conan aside, is they're doing alternative comics to superhero fiction, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Heat Seeker or Gun Honey or some of the video game franchises they've gotten into, it's something different than superhero.
That one about Tesla was awesome. It was really good.
Marcus, how you doing tonight, sir?
What's up, Marcus?
What up,
Marcus, you owe me no thanks.
Scotty, what's the one about Tesla called? Do you remember?
The girl who electrified Tesla. I think that's the name of it. Something to that extent.
That sounds rad.
It's fantastic.
Check that out.
It's a great series.
Well, that and horror's been popping over in the indies too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, plus, I think one of my favorite series over the last couple of years was Noctera, which I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was more action. It had a touch of horror in it, but I thought it was just a fantastic read.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder's a good writer.
Absolutely. I like him on horror books. Did you like Silver Coin, right, Gary?
Silver Coin's
Silver
awesome.
Coin is my favorite anthology out right now. I'm glad it's coming back. Silver
Did you
Coin's
read
amazing.
Michael Walsh did that Frankenstein #1? Did you check that out?
I just picked it up today because I waited for Dope's review on it because a lot of the ones have been a little bad
Yeah,
lately. So
it's
I didn't
been
want to spend the money on it till I heard Dope's
like
review.
Dracula was great because of
Dracula was fantastic.
dude, what's his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his
Martin
name.
Simmons'
Lord help.
interior
Yeah,
art
Martin
really-
Simmons. Lord forgive me. Martin Simmons' artwork was just next level.
It matched the writing perfect.
Well, and I like
Yeah.
that these horror figures are coming back in horror too, because Blumhouse did the Invisible Man a few years ago, which was really good, and now they have a Wolfman coming out soon. And I hope they do a Frankenstein. I hope they do a Mummy. I hope they do all these Universal monsters.
Yeah, I enjoyed Frankenstein #1 though. I
And
thought it was pretty good.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, I want to see redone really bad. That's one of my favorite old black and white movies.
Oh, you want to see the movie redone?
I just no, I don't want a shot for shot. I just want them to bring that Creature from the Black Lagoon back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a creature that hasn't been used enough.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. And such a timeless look, you know.
All right, so we've done a little over an hour. We'll go around and see if anyone's got any last questions for you. We'll start wrapping it up so this is rewatchable and people get exposed to get the full stew. We don't want them to look at this thing and go, "Oh my gosh, 2 hours? I can't possibly." So Scotty, did you have any last question?
Yeah, Stu, what's the first artist that you recognized as having their own unique style, like that stuck out to you on the comic rack? What's the first artist that made you notice their style?
I think it was definitely Jim Lee. Jim Lee, and then Todd McFarlane is a close second. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, born in '82, definitely
it makes sense for the time.
A child of the early '90s, yeah. But that was the first time artists became, came off the page and really became something different to me. But yeah, I remember, man. Sam Keith also was an enigma to me. Max was such a crazy book. So yeah, just definitely like the Image Revolution was the first time I remember artists really kind of becoming rock stars.
You like Simon Bisley then too.
Man. Yeah, dude. Simon was like, I love like one of those guys that, I found out about later. Also saw that guy at convention. Such a cool dude, man. Such a, like, I feel like I'd love to have a beer with that guy. Seems like such a wild cat.
Now, Fable, did you have a question, sir?
What's your favorite comic book convention?
Man, it's got to be Heroes, right? So I haven't done anything really, but Heroes and GalaxyCon up here at my neck of the woods. Heroes went this year. First time going to a major con. First time going to Heroes. Completely mind-blowing, man. Completely mind-blowing. Everybody was there, and just the energy, throughout the weekend. Everybody's just, there for the love of the game and because they love comic books, and it's it was incredible. I have nothing but high praises to for that con and everybody who runs it and puts it together, and all the artists and creators who show up, man. It's so special. I think anybody who's been before, whether it was this past year before, years before that, knows. So hopefully see some of you gentlemen there.
Yeah.
The only one I've ever been to was the Steel City Con. I got to meet Milt there, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But
and the Rips, we're all going. Yes.
Yes.
All going
and it's
next year.
It's worth the travel money and all that stuff, man. It really is. It's a special time. And really, I think the tickets are $75 for a regular 3 weekend pass, $150 for the VIP. The tickets and the time in there. I mean, you're gonna definitely spend some money on the con floor, but it's worth every penny to me. So yeah. Shout out to Heroes Con.
Nice. Now, my last question for you. You get to have lunch with someone from any time period in history or the present, right? So you get to pick your favorite creator, whether it's an artist, a writer, an actor, and you get to sit there and have an hour and a half lunch with them and just talk to them. who you're going to sit down with and pick their brain. Who do you want to meet? Who you going to shake hands with and get them to sign something for you? Who is Stu taking either out of the past or the present to spend that time with?
And this is like, can I guarantee their mood? Like they're going to be excited to see me and talk to me, or are they going to be a grumpy old curmudgeon?
They're ready to sit down and have a lunch with you and just have a discussion with you.
Man, I would say from the comic book world, I would say John Byrne or Grant Morrison. Those two guys have always been such crazy, awesome creators and interesting people. I would like to definitely sit down with either one of those gentlemen and pick their brains. But yeah, John Byrne, just because he's like so reclusive, and I have so many questions I want to ask him about his time on Fantastic Four and X-Men, and just his work and relationships with all of that, and his how he views those contributions and all that stuff. And Grant Morrison is just a wild man, chaos magic, and I just love his stories. Are so out there, but unbelievably beautiful and emotional, and just some of the best comics I've ever read. So, like, I don't know, I always wanted to hang out with that guy. So I would say those two. Well,
nice.
Yeah, I'm throwing Byrne on there because I really wanted to put Byrne on the Mount Rushmore. But so Byrne, I'm going to put Byrne in the conversation a little bit just to make sure I'm doing him justice.
When you come on this show, you got to talk about John Byrne and Conan. You got to pay tribute to Gary.
Yo, John Byrne's, I like John Byrne a lot, but I don't know. He might not be in my top 5.
Ooh.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair.
Well, just because of who else is up there, right? Because I think he may have got bumped this year because you got John Buscema.
Nice.
Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah. Let's go.
John Romita Sr.
Let's go.
It's going to be Roberto De La Torre now,
Mm.
who is just absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And I guess my 5th would have to be another new guy, Mahmoud Asrar, who is incredible.
Mm. Nice. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So that would end up being my top 5. Although you could put George Perez and John Byrne in for any of those guys too.
Hell
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
And I agree with what Bobby says. Jack Kirby is definitely up there. I'd love to have a beer with Kirby, man. Such a down to earth,
Oh yeah.
from the
Right.
streets guy.
Nice. So we're going to go around the table here and we'll see what everyone's got coming up. Scotty, we're going to start with you, sir.
Cool. Taking the week off this Monday for Comic Book Addicts because Labor Day, but I'll be back the week after that with Jason Douglas from Parallel and Jane American. He's an awesome writer, so be sure to tune in for that. That's 2 Mondays from now. And then I dropped a new video this past Wednesday, and I drop a new video every Wednesday at 11 a.m. for my series Adult Erotica in Comic Books. This week I did Robert Crumb and Fritz the Cat, so go check that out.
Nice.
Oh,
You got to do a Frank Thorne one.
Oh, yes, I definitely plan on doing that. He's on the list.
I love that you're doing that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's such a
There's
cool
definitely
series,
a lot of
dude.
fans of erotic comics, and we need that.
And I just love finding out about stuff like that.
We need that area
that's
covered.
It's a
Absolutely.
cool, fun learning experience.
Yeah.
I don't know, Scotty. I'm offended by anything erotic. No. I had to say something bullshitty.
Yeah, coming from the
I
writer.
like how you try to keep a straight face. That was cute.
I can't. I couldn't even get the line out.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
You were trying.
All right, Fable, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, right now, if you guys aren't doing anything, head over to Blood Splatter Chatter, where we're doing PCP Horror Fest 2024. We are covering Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You.
I love those 2 movies. I thought
Yeah,
they were
come
both
hang
great.
out if you're not doing nothing, Gary. We're going over there right now as soon as we get off of this thing. Catch me Sunday for the 80s horror movie. Top 10 80s horror movie, also on Blood Splatter Chatter. And catch me on Monday, Pop Culture Philosophers, Horror Fest yet again, and we're covering Hellraiser.
Now,
Hell
you know what's funny is I had not heard Blood Splatter Chatter until you. I just subbed them and put my notifications on, so I will be getting all the notifications now. So
Hell
thank
yeah.
you for
Hell
introducing me to a good horror channel.
Absolutely.
All right, Stu, what's coming up for you, sir?
Yeah, man. Just to echo Fable sentiments, I'm heading with him right over there to Blood Splatter Chatter to cover Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. I will be on Pop Culture Philosophers tomorrow night at I believe it's 7 p.m. Eastern for the monthly comic book review where we talk about the best comics of the month. The PCP nominated I'm sorry, the CBA award nominated monthly comic review. Sorry guys, I'm getting my acronyms all messed up. But yeah, man, Gary, thank you for having me, guys.
No
Scotty and
problem.
Fable, thank you guys for coming through and hanging with me.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been such a fun time.
And then-
Always an honor. So
Let's see.
Great
Coming
stuff,
up for me next week, we have hip hop's and I always messed up the
Hip
title.
hop's and me, Big Steve.
Hip hop's and me. Steve is
coming
gonna be on
through. Let's
next
go.
Tuesday. He'll be
Awesome.
doing his first 10-1-1.
Hell yeah, dude.
That'll be fun.
And then Thursday we have a card edition of the 10-1-1 with Zach's Collections.
Awesome. Another
Nice.
awesome one.
Zach's a really good guy. I've been wanting to get him on the show. So I got a couple new guys to the channel next week, which I can't wait. Hopefully I can get some blood splatter chatter people on at some point. And I never thought. I wonder if Link would like to do the show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You should reach out, bro.
Yeah. So I'll have to get with you on that, Fable, because I don't know if is he on IG?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is there sometimes I don't know if I'm following people or not because you end up following so many accounts that you miss stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. No worries. I got you. I got you.
Nice. And of course, you guys are always welcome back on the channel at any time. You just have, if you see anyone coming up that's a guest that you guys want to be a part of, all you have to do is reach out and I'll send you an invite. But guys, we're going to get out of here because they had their show coming up. So go from my show straight over to Blood Splatter Chatter because I'm going to follow over there now, watch it for the first time. I love the Happy Death Day movies. Those were so fun and so well done.
Yep.
And I didn't expect anything out of them. So when I saw them, they blew me away. I thought it was just great.
Yep.
But we're going to end this so they can go do their thing. And as I like to say at the end of every show, guys, keep it casual.
Station.
Thanks for the chat.